couples. They've been married for years. And you think, well, surely you should know this about this person now, but they don't.
Mm.
They don't. I don't know if it's complacency or whatever, but they don't seem to. And that just tells us that you can't actually know somebody fully. Because you could live next door to somebody and you see on the news that that person has done something, he's committed some heinous crime. You're like, what? I live next door to this guy. I've known him for
Yeah.
years. Say he's never hurt a fly. So you can't really know somebody. It's impossible to really
Mm.
know somebody. I suppose what we just do is we just try to cohabit with somebody, and just try to be nice to them, Just be nice to your neighbor, and your neighbor's nice to you. Hope for the best, because some neighbors are from hell, aren't they? I've
So
had
I
a few.
suppose what you're saying is the relationships can be quite superficial, and
Yeah,
also I suppose we have our game face, don't we? Our game face, our life face. We have lots of different roles in our life, different sets of friends, perhaps family, people you see, maybe colleagues, all sorts of different hats we might wear,
mm,
and therefore I guess we have a particular type of relationship with each of those groups, and
yeah,
it's all about what we are prepared to project to others of ourselves, isn't it? It's that.
absolutely.
I mean, we've said this before, but we have a private self, a public self, and some say we have a secret self, and I guess all
Mm,
those things at some level must actually apply. But I think you're quite right in what you said. The next question is, do we ever really get to know ourselves?
yeah.
Sometimes we've seen game shows on television or reality shows where people may say, like, I'm a celebrity. They come back afterwards and say, well, I learned so much about myself. And I'm sure that's true because in life, most of us are not, or very rarely are we put in a position where we got our back against the wall, where we've really got to struggle, and we find out what resources we've got inside us to cope, to cope in awful situations in some people's cases. So, in that sense, I don't think life is too comfortable in many ways for many
Yeah.
people, not everybody. So we
Yeah.
don't have to really put ourselves out on a limb or say, well, what's it like to not eat for 2 days or something
Mm,
like that. So I'm not even sure we properly ever really get to know ourselves. So,
no.
so if it's hard to know ourselves and hard
Mm,
to know other people, it makes you wonder where these game faces or a poker face, whatever we choose to put on.
mm,
And I mean, talking of the game face, I saw a photograph. I think it was last week um, on my phone, one of the newspapers, and it was a photograph of Donald Trump sitting with the King's banquet last week or the week before, and
mm,
sitting next to him was Catherine, Princess Catherine, the Queen to be.
mm.
And she had a look on her face. It was a look. It was looking at Trump. It obviously just said something, and she was looking at him. I can't really describe it accurately, but it was if, oh, that was a bit saucy, Mr. Trump. That kind of look. And it's what really hit me was the thousands of different expressions and looks we have on our faces, because that was quite an unusual look you might see anybody make, but you could see from what the way her face looked exactly what she was thinking or what she'd just said or whatever. And
Yeah.
as I say, it just said to me, we all have so many different so many different expressions for different circumstances, which we're not even aware of half the time. We give ourselves away a little bit on that. But
Yeah.
yeah, so do we ever really get to know other people? And then you think of it in relation to love. We love somebody.
Yeah.
Somewhere, I was trying to find it earlier and I can't find it, but I used to have a little quote thing I put on a quote board quite a long time ago, and it said something along the lines: "It's wise to maintain a small degree of distance between you and even those close to you." And I always thought that was quite interesting because I don't know, not that we want to hide things of ourselves necessarily, but equally we don't want to sort of blurt out everything about ourselves. But maybe to command ultimate or to command some level of, I don't know whether respect is the word, but some level in saying this in a years long, many years relationship,
Mm.
it shouldn't just be an acceptance that this is how it is. I think people have always got to have, ideally, the ability to surprise a partner or something like that. So
Yeah,
keeping a little bit of distance is maintaining quite a sense, in my view, quite a sensible thing. It's a sensible thing to do
yeah,
because I don't think we won't ever really know anybody else that much that we can afford to be totally ourselves in that sense. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, just to add to that, say for instance, if you won the lottery tomorrow, I don't know how you're going to be.
No, you're right. I don't think we know if it was big money. I don't think people
I
would know
know.
how we react, would we?
Yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I mean, you might decide to give all the money to me. I don't know that yet.
Don't think so. But if you won, I might well be on the phone later on. So
And another,
anyway, so go on.
yeah,
Yeah, you're going to say.
yeah. So, and another thing I was going to say in relation to that is, you could have somebody, a human being or one person, wear different hats. So that same person is a father, is a husband, is a teacher. It might also be a priest. It might also be a marathon runner. It might be an avid reader, a podcaster. So you could have that person behave differently,
Yeah.
in different hats, really. So you could have him. You could have somebody that is a really really nice person, but a rubbish father. You could
Mm.
also have a really good husband, but a lazy man at work. So you could have different personalities out of just one person or different.